Got my machete, gonna chop her to the wire.
Hey, bum the way to way.
Wrapped in spaghetti, about to catch me on fire.
Hey, bum the way. So bum the way. Bum the way to way.
Bum the way to way.
Bum the way.
Are you ready for the Sept and the car? Away from the drama in the hysteria. Juxtaposition, correct your vision. Simsalabim, and you seem to be forgiven, so come out to play. It's a beautiful day. Come reality.
Bum the way to way.
Come out to play. It's a beautiful day. Come reality.
Bum the way to way. Bum the way.
I don't like living in a simulation.
Hey, bum the way to way.
Unplug my way back to civilization.
Hey, bum the way. So bum the way. Bum the way to way.
Bum
the way. Bum the way.
Me take the incline and I can't see the stars. Me can't feel the human from beyond the avatar. Jump the prison, fuck the algorithm. If your battery is dying, then you get busy living. So come out to play. It's a beautiful day. Come reality.
Bum the way to way.
Come out to play. It's a beautiful day. Come reality.
Bum the way to way.
Are you ready for the Sept and the car? Away from the drama in the hysteria. Juxtaposition, correct your vision. Simsalabim, and you seem to be forgiven, so come out to play. It's a beautiful day. Come reality.
Bum the way to way.
Come out to play. It's a beautiful day. Come reality.
Bum the way to way.
Come out to play. It's a beautiful day. Come reality.
Bum the way to way.
Come out to play. It's a beautiful day. Come reality.
Bum the way to way.
Welcome to the Live Loving live stream with John Davis. Well, hello, my friends, and welcome to the Live Loving live stream. I hope you're doing well. I'm having a frantic evening this evening. I was about a half an hour away from home when I got the message that I'm going to might be late, so I rushed home, and I got in here and I started hitting technical difficulties. You might have seen the live stream started for 10 seconds and then it went away. And so I had to rebuild that whole live stream before 7 o'clock. And so a lot of technical stuff going on. This is one of the reasons why I'm upgrading my studio and stuff, because A lot of the tech in here is getting a little bit outdated, and so that's why we're doing that whole crowdfunding thing so we can keep the whole thing moving and going. Let me just jump over to the comment sections. Hi to people. Hi, Kristen. How are you? I hope you're doing well. And Maxine, welcome. Audrey, hello, Audrey. Yeah, the Utah tragedy is pretty crazy. It's whenever you have division. I was just telling somebody about this today. Whenever you have division, you have people who are going to go out on all sides. And what's interesting about that is that when they go all the way out to the extreme wings, be it right or left, it's when they start doing crazy things. And I really I feel bad for Charlie Kirk's family and all of those people who've been affected with it, and especially the people who witnessed it. That's a traumatic thing to have happen. But I think whenever you have such divisive parties on either side, the fringe ends of it are going to create crazy experiences like this. And the guy who did the shooting, they're saying that he had become very radical against this guy, and that guy absolutely, Charlie Kirk, absolutely very radical. So yeah, it's a tragedy in all for all involved, and I think that we can come together and drop this division and start to love one another like we're supposed to be doing, in my opinion. Let me see. Joe Wardzilla, hello, hello, hello. So 8. I'm not sure what the... Brittany, hello. Larry Adams. Larry, my man, is here. How are you, buddy? Beyond biblical belief. Beyond biblical belief. Joyful, loving journeys, y'all. What a beautiful statement. Thank you so much. And the same right back at you, my friend. Well, but a lot has happened in the last month. And I wanted to say that there is some major changes. Obviously, you saw that the channel is now expanding Spirit, and the logo that's down there in the corner will eventually be changing to get that little John of New off of there. But when the changes started happening, I instantly started seeing a rise in views. Things changed dramatically. People started getting a better understanding of what this channel was about. And I've been slowly adjusting the videos on the topics that I'm talking about, and there's a lot coming up ahead. As the crowdfunding's happened, it's coming in slowly, but it's coming in, and I totally appreciate it. I've already started taking the money that came in and buying more studio equipment to upgrade. So over the next month or so, you should see videos looking different and more content and better content. So I just wanted to let you know that the changes are exciting for me, and I think in the end they'll reach more people in the end. So ladies and gentlemen, so if you're here and you want to ask a question, the number one thing you do is you'll notice at the bottom of the screen down there it says, please put all topics and questions in all caps. The reason that is, if you look at your chat board right now, you'll see everybody's talking and they're saying hello and everything. But when it comes into all caps, that's when I see it, because there's a whole bunch of stuff going on over there. And it's much easier for me to find the topics and the questions. So make sure you do that. And so whenever you guys are ready, just throw any topics or questions up that you'd like to talk about. I'm excited about the idea of what's called leaps of faith. I took a huge leap of faith this month, and one of them was giving up live stream, not giving up live streams. I'm not giving up live streams. Giving up private sessions in 2026. Most people don't know, the bulk of my income is from the private sessions. That's where I make my living. But I am taking a huge leap of faith that this channel and the things that are coming out in the next few weeks here will take over the income so that I can create more content and more effective teachings out there into the market. So taking a leap of faith is sometimes hard to do because we're in our security. We know the experience we're in. We're managing the experience we're in. But sometimes you have to take the leap to say, I'm doing something different now. And thoughts, words, and deeds are the driver of our creation. Your idea of manifestation. You can say anything you want, but as Shakespeare said, words without thoughts never to heaven go. You have to put the actions behind it. Like Jeshua did when he put the water in the jugs to create wine. He started doing the things in alignment with wine happening. And so the idea of me wanting to take this channel to the next level, I had to take the want out of it. I just had to start doing the things that took it to the next level. And I love that. And I'm going to hop over here and push up Brittany. Yes. Brittany, you're going to be, it's much more than that, actually. I'll be doing part of his Soul Mastery Summit in, my weekend is October. I'm speaking in October. But here's some other things that are coming up with Alex and I. Alex and I have put together a course about simple spirituality. It's going to be up on Next Level Soul TV, but I'm going to be offering it as well. I went out to Austin and we recorded all the videos for it, and we created the worksheets and the artwork and everything else, and that was exciting. It was a wonderful time. I also did another full-blown 2-hour interview with Alex in his studio, so that will be coming up on Next Level Soul podcast in the not too distant future. And on top of it, my book, The Recovering Catholic's Guide to Spirituality, will be out and for sale by the end of September. And I am going to be releasing it as a book, as an audio book, as a video, not as a video, as a ebook, so you can get it on your Kindles and everything else. But that audio book, Alex Ferrari is producing that audio book. And so he'll be heavily involved, and he may even write the foreword to that book, because I just sent him the manuscript so he could get his part of it done. And so look at it from the perspective of Alex and I are working on a lot more things together. And in November, my second book will be out, and Alex will be doing the audio book for that as well. A lot of stuff happening right now. And Alex Ferrari is a big part of it. In fact, he and I were texting back and forth all day today. So it'll be very, very, very exciting. So let me jump over and get into some of these questions that are starting to come in. Love this question. Hey, James, how are you doing? Help me understand consciousness, especially Christ consciousness. Okay, first of all, Christ consciousness is very much a new age ideology. Mainly because the word Christ is not something Jeshua would have ever used, because Jeshua did not believe in messiahs, and that Christ means Messiah in modern language, but Christ means the anointed one, and what it actually was a translation of was the word Meshiach, which did not mean a Messiah or a spiritual leader. It meant a king or a ruler who was anointed into the position. So the word of Christ has changed over time. The New Age people tend to take the word Christ and add it to consciousness, meaning the level of awareness that Jesus had is what they're calling it. But the use of the word Christ muddies the water. It makes it very antithetical to what he taught, and it also makes it kind of antithetical to the idea of what they're trying to say, because the Christ consciousness is this, level of awareness that we have to ascend to, and it basically puts you in the position of you're not there now, and so that it messes up. Now let's talk about consciousness itself. I'm going to talk about this in a very simple way, in a scientific way, actually. Everything you're looking at is atomic energy in motion. And the wall beside you and the air between you and the wall and your eyes are atomic energy in motion. They're just atoms. Now, we know that over 90% of an atom is empty space. We also know that the remaining little percentage is just an energy event in motion. But everything you're looking at is that energy event in motion, including your hand. If you put it in front of your hand, that's an energy event in motion. In other words, all of this is just motion. And all you really are is your thoughts, your beliefs, your consciousness, what you're conscious of, the consciousness. And what happens is when you raise your consciousness, what you're actually doing is you're bypassing the physical stimulus, and we're going to a place of greater awareness that we are simply thought. And so to understand consciousness, Bentov talked about the idea of on the ego level, and the ego only means you're aware of your individuality. On the ego level, we're aware of our individuality. We're not aware of what's each other's thoughts or anything else. But as you begin to get to know and experience, and the New Age people would say resonate with people, you'll start finishing each other's sentences and things like that. What that is you actually tapping into the awareness of them and their consciousness. You're becoming broader and more aware, and your consciousnesses are crossing over, right? Over the course of time, you keep broadening consciousness, you're going to start getting connected to more and more people. And then eventually you're going to come out to the point where you're just connected with everything and everyone. But the consciousness is the present moment awareness of it. So being in the Christ conscious would mean that they were saying that you were in the awareness of being connected to all of it. The Father and I are one, and you must become one with me as I'm with the Father. So consciousness is the understanding that the physical world is really not physical. It's actually just an energy event in motion, and that we affect that energy in motion through our thoughts, words, and beliefs, and we rise into the consciousness of being able to create it. I hope that's a very long answer, but I hope that makes sense. Hope that makes sense, James. It's an interesting question, Kajan, because did he know he would die on the cross? Well, in reality, when someone comes out and he says, you don't have to agree with Caesar and you don't have to agree with the rabbis, at a time where the rabbis and Caesar were in charge, you're a rebel. You're probably going to end up having a lot of problems. So pretty much, did he know whether he was going to the cross? Well, why would he send John to Turkey and Peter to Rome, and he would send everybody out in all directions to teach what he taught right before he went to the cross? So he could see the writing on the wall. He knew it was coming. But the most beautiful thing he did was he went ahead and just took himself there and took himself off of the board so that the teachings could be spread without him being a hindrance to them. So understanding also that the belief in eternal life, he that believes in me shall have eternal life, he didn't think this was the end of him. He knew that he was going on to something more. So that's my thought on that. I hope that makes sense. Trader Kaz, hello. David? Did Jesus free humanity from the realm of Hades in Greek mythology? From every mythological story in human history, there's an underworld. That's actually not true. The Greeks believed in an underworld. The Hebrews believed in a place called Sheol, but Sheol was just a place where everybody went. There was no dark world underneath of us. Did Jesus free humanity? Jesus, my friend Joshua, was a man, not a deity. And this battle between dark and light that this is implying makes no sense into what he taught at all, because he was truly upon think not upon tomorrow, be here today, about creating in the now. Even the use of the word Hades, that became one of the ancient words used to fill in for Sheol, but it was Hades and Gehenna eventually became hell, and hell became a story that did not really have its origins or its ideas of that we believe in now, or people believe in now. I don't believe in it. Until Dante wrote his Inferno in the 1300s. The ideas of hell, fire, brimstone, damnation, and saving, dying for our sins and all that, that's a later theologian's addition to the teachings of Jeshua. So if you're looking for me to say that he was this big energetic shift that saved humanity, that's not what he did. He saved humanity by telling humanity that they were divine within themselves, in my opinion. If you believe that I completely respect that. You're more than welcome to believe that. Nick, that's beautiful that you could come to an understanding. Your brother's allowed to believe what he believes, and hopefully he agreed that you can believe what you believe, and we agreed to protect our truth with God's protection. So now that's great. Now I personally, I wouldn't go to the word protection myself, because that would mean that there's something fearful, and fear is the thing that we overcome. But I absolutely love the fact that you were able to reconcile with your brother here and now in the present, where we can do something. Hello there, Nurse Adrian, and her wonderful book that all of you should go out and buy. And yes, like Bright Love says, please don't forget to like this video. So, do you think that the hatred and vitriol we are experiencing I'm hoping you're thinking will end or will be overcome. I think the hatred and the vitriol that we're seeing right now is the growing pains of a more beautiful world coming to pass. As I've often said, Socrates said that when the debate is lost, slander becomes the tool of the loser. I think truly that we are into a much more beautiful world, and you look at our children, and they are the representation. They don't have any of the biases that we do now. There are some out there who are loud, and what's happening is the ones who are becoming hate-filled and fearful are reaping hateful and fearful things into their lives. But to me, when I look at the hate and the vitriol, I just see that as people expressing their fears and their anxieties. And so I just do my best to alleviate their fears. Do you like getting out in nature? I'm becoming a forest therapy guide and would like to know if Jesus talks about healing powers of nature. Jeshua did not talk about the healing powers of nature in any way, shape, or form, because Jeshua knew that healing all came from belief, and everything that he talked about is belief. But I will tell you, if you're an empathic person and you can get out in nature where you're not around other people and you're experiencing the nature itself, that is very cleansing, because you're not around the feelings of fears and anxieties of other people around you. I love going into nature. When I was a kid, we had thousands and thousands and thousands of acres of woods and swamps and marshes and everything behind our house. And I knew every square inch of it because I just loved being out there. My backyard, I have deer, I have turkey, I have coyote, I have had bald eagle, I've had red-tailed hawks, I've had Cooper hawks, I've had the big woodpeckers. I've had more and more animals out in this backyard, and I just love the nature of it and going out there. I talk to them. I also have an owl who, if you hoot on my back porch at dusk, he'll respond to you, which I think is wonderful. It's so funny you ask this, Burnout the Joy. I have, and I have often thought if I could find somebody who would deal with the whole logistics of that, I would love to do that. I especially would like to start that trip in Turkey at Ephesus, where John is supposedly buried, so I could have that experience of dancing on my grave. Chitra, my love, how are you? Well, Larry, I hope that answered your question. I just saw your answer to that. Absolutely does not mean the loss of your own individuality. As in Hinduism, there's the Sit and the Sit Satki, the God consciousness and the individual sparks of consciousness within the one God. My son at 6 said, Daddy, God told me he's in everything and everyone, and we control the God part inside of us. Well, that doesn't mean we lose our individuality. It means we retain our individuality, and we come to know the power within ourselves. And so when I look at this, oneness does not mean loss of anything. Unfortunately, this question itself is based upon the idea that something fearful could happen, that I'll lose my identity. And the key is when you're focused on fearful things, you'll witness fearful things, you'll experience fearful things. It's a matter of making your present moment as positive and loving as possible so that you don't have to worry about things like that. Rover Dean, I have not seen the movie Wish. I will have to check that out. My son and I love to watch Disney movies occasionally, and so I will have to check that one out. I have not seen it yet. No call. Well, Edward Todd, thank you so much. Thank you so much for that. Edward Todd. Okay, so now I see the last name Todd. I always think of Mary Todd, who was Abraham Lincoln's wife. And when I was, is it Mary or Martha? I forget which. But her last name was Todd. And when I was a young man, I worked for a man who refinished furniture. And one day he had me refinishing a spinning wheel. And I'm doing work on it. He said, you be careful with that one. I go, why? He says, because that was Mrs. Lincoln's. And it's literally, I was working on her spinning wheel, one of her spinning wheels, which I thought was just a wonderful experience. Senior Soul Steve, hello there. How are you, my friend? 64-bit rewind. Oh, I love all the positive comments coming in. Mary Todd Lincoln, yes, thank you very much. Are you related, Edward? It's so interesting when you look at the world. There's so many things that we can run into that we can just start to understand that it's a much smaller world. I was telling the story the other day about how when I was working for Cirque du Soleil, making swords for them at one time, and the guy that I was talking to from Cirque du Soleil, his name was Richard Dagenet. And I said, Dagenet? He goes, yeah. I said, so are you French Canadian? He said, well, yeah. I said, did you have relatives who settled in Chester, Pennsylvania? He said, yeah. My grandmother's Agnes Dagenet, and we were actually related. So the world is small. It's a tiny little place, and things show up all the time. And it's a matter of understanding that how small the world really is. Okay. Not related to Mary Todd Lincoln. What other questions you guys have? I know I started late, and I apologize for the lateness tonight because I was literally running behind, and then I had technical difficulties at the beginning, as some of you might have seen. So let me see what we got here. Pretty deep into quantum physics, etc., but some believe that consciousness of oneness is what allows instantaneous interstellar travel. Any thoughts? So I have told the story in the past about my astral travel where I was in Annapolis, Maryland, and I astral traveled within minutes to Rehoboth Beach, Delaware, which is a 2.5, 3-hour drive away, and came back with information that proved I was there, and actually proved I connected with somebody there and gave him a message, and he delivered it to me. So if I can do that, and what's really interesting about that experience, I remember literally flying over the Chesapeake Bay and feeling the wind, which was amazing. So do I believe that you can travel? That I've done it in the astral form, in the energy form, in the consciousness form. But there are also stories of gurus who project their consciousness just like I did, but then rather than coming back, they manifest their body where they are. So to me, that makes perfect sense as to why you could do interstellar travel, because it's all atomic energy, like I said earlier, and all we're doing is we're putting our consciousness in a specific place. In my regression, there was the thing about if you want to remanifest into a very specific place, you need to have something there to show you where that space is, because that space of thought is a collective. So having something there that holds you, that for you to come back to, makes it much easier to do those things. So to me, and yes, Bright Love, that was the Purple Rhinoceros story, one of my favorite stories of all time, actually. But the idea, can we do interstellar travel? Why not? Everything is thought. I was talking to somebody today about with faith as small as a mustard seed, you can ask a mountain to move and it'll move. Nothing's impossible for you. And she said, well, if you can believe that. I said, exactly. I said, I don't know anybody, including myself, who actually believes they can pick up the mountain. But if we could, we would. Because it comes down to that belief, those limitations of belief. And I have manifested some pretty big things into my life. And one of the things that I manifested, honestly, started with Alex Ferrari first interviewing me. And now when I am creating some new manifestations, Alex Ferrari is becoming a part of that as well. So it really comes down to understanding that our thoughts are creative. And what we think we become, we do create our world. And thought by thought, we are forging our destiny. And there is nothing good nor bad, but thinking makes it so. And I think, therefore I am. And all of these things, right? To me, it just only proves the fact that our thoughts not only create, but our thoughts are the experience of our travel as well, if we choose to be. Nick, I love this question because I talk about this quite a lot, and there's several videos I've talked about this. Joshua didn't judge anybody for their beliefs, and he never talked about same-sex partners because he didn't see anything within them. The people who talk about homosexuality or same-sex partners, first of all, the modern people who are using the Bible to go against homosexuality literally are interpreting it and adding their own sensibility into the text, because the text never really says it. There are some things where marriage is between a man and a woman, right? But Dan McClellan talks a lot about this because he says the thing about sex that's in the Bible, according to history, is it's not about sex with a man or a woman. In fact, it's about who's on the receiving end, right? Because it was unheard of to be on the bottom in that situation. It was never mentioned about man or woman on the bottom. It was mentioned about don't be on the bottom if you're a man. And so this idea that people get into the judgment of people for how they love, Jeshua talked about love. And love in any form is never wrong. So Jeshua he didn't care. That wasn't something he even thought about. Is this person in front of me loving? That's all that really mattered to him. So the judgments of the LGBTQ community today has nothing to do with biblical text or even Jeshua. It has everything to do with what these evangelicals and all are talking about it. And the churches themselves have really, really botched this, because if God is love, love in any form can never be wrong. So that's my thought on it. Alex is a great guy. I thoroughly enjoy it. And you know what's funny? Alex and I have been sending each other funny memes and jokes back and forth for a few days now. It's really kind of fun. Really kind of fun. Kazian, this is absolutely a normal thing. The first time I went out of body, I was like, whoa, and I fell right back into my body, right? Because when you step into something that broader awareness, it's unknown territory. And we were like, okay, and it kind of freaks us out because we're not in our comfort zone. But it's when we release the idea that it could be fearful that we explore everything. We can do anything. We can do everything. And when I write my private sessions, but I don't know if you guys saw that message, but they're done at the end of December. If you want to get one, you got to get one quick. And I dropped the price down $50 for the rest until they're sold out. But the idea of having a greater spiritual experience, number one, we get scared, we fall back in. Number two, right after that happens, we tend to start to say, how do I do that again? Which is the declaration that it's not happening now. So we start seeking it as opposed to just going back and being it again. So there are a couple different things that get messed up in our situation in that regard. But if you just stay calm and know going into it, it's good, you'll be fine. Stan, I'm so sorry that your wife passed. I know that's hard to lose someone you love like that. They are always with us because we are all in the oneness of God. If you put your thought on her, she'll be right there. I put my thought on my mother, she shows up. I put on my thought, my friend Bill, he shows up. My cousin Carlos came and talked to me. It's not about, it's us believing that we can't feel them that makes us not feel them. So understand that it always comes down to you. I am connected to my wife. And then just go about your day. And understand, they don't always show up in the way you think they would. Like my mother shows up outside this window when I do private sessions as a cardinal. And how do I know it's her? Because my mom was an avid collector of cardinals. She had porcelains and she had plates and she had all this stuff with cardinals on them. And why would a cardinal come and sit outside this window when I do private sessions? It happens a lot. It comes right outside the window, right beside me as I do work. So I know that's my mom coming through. Hey, Steve. I actually talked about this earlier in the live stream, but I'll talk about it now. There's a couple things about this. Number one. Whenever there's a tragedy like this, a couple weeks later, something else happens and we forget about it. Charlie Kirk assassination was literally because people were throwing fear in all directions. Charlie Kirk, who wanted to have public executions, who said that all mass murderers the majority of mass murderers were trans. This is a guy who was saying some pretty horrific stuff, and he kind of put himself in the crosshairs in a way by putting out such fearful stuff. And then someone who was fearful did a horrific, fearful act and shot him. I think that all of these, as I said earlier in this podcast, that when the debate is lost, slander becomes the tool of the loser, as Socrates said. The reason they're all getting mad and vitriolic and saying the horrific things is because they're losing. We are creating a more loving world, and it's literally is just an example of fear run amok and how we ourselves have to take care of making our part of the world bright so we can start showing that there is less fearful things in the world. And I think we're doing it. I do. I truly think that we are very well on the way to a much more loving world, and these are just the growing pains of that. I hope that answers your question there. Senior Soul Steve. Great name. My thoughts on the current movement in various places, which is emerging from the grassroots level and bringing people to a spiritual life in the current chaotic world, please. I think it's one of the things that's happening all over the place. I mean, you think about this alone, Marianne Williamson ran for president, right? And yeah, there's a lot of people who laughed at her because of her spiritual books and all that stuff, but she was taken seriously enough to get on the podium. Right? So things are shifting, and the world is coming to that place where everybody wants to be loved. Everybody wants to be loved. There's nobody in this world who doesn't want to be loved. And in that regard, it's if God is love, God, universe consciousness is based in the energy of love, then it's a natural transition into a spiritual life, because the spiritual is the non-corporeal and love is non-corporeal. So I think we're going there, and I think it's getting better. So I hope that answers your question there, Chitra. Nick, being Jesus' beloved has to be profoundly intense, though not sexual. I relate to John at the Last Supper. What was it like being accused by Peter, asking if you would betray him? Well, you know, it's interesting. A lot of the stories that you read in the Bible are just not true, right? I have no memory of this story. People ask me about the Last Supper all the time, and I say, I remember suppers. I don't remember one that was related as a last one, right? I remember clearing a table with Mary Magdalene after a supper, and laughing and giggling. The interesting thing is, a lot of times they would there are some stories that have some kernel of truth, right? But the key really is to go to the lessons themselves, which is just being loving. When I have my memories of my time with Jeshua, it was like being with a friend who knew me so well that we would just look at each other and laugh about things. And people want to put Jeshua on a pedestal, but he was a man, not a deity. He was a man who found his own divinity and was showing us ours. And people went to, I have no memories of him walking into the room and the choir starting to sing or the lights starting to shine. He was a man, right? And people want to make it up as something more, but you could feel his charisma. You could feel his love. You could feel it before you even got to him, right? But he was a man who found his divinity, and that was the result of that finding, that power within himself, that love within himself. So he was just showing us. And if you want to hear the intensity of feeling that, there's a video on my channel called 2 Moments from My Regression. And you can hear me first feel him. And I feel him. Before I even got to him, I started losing my breath because I could feel his love, right? But he was very specific about all he did was find something that we all have. And he wasn't in any way, shape, or form trying to put himself on a pedestal, which, to go back to Kazian's question earlier, which is a big reason why he probably went to the cross, to take him off the field so he wouldn't be on a pedestal. So, and then what did they do? They took him off the pedestal and they put him up on a cross and hung him in front of a room full of people, and which made it even worse. So, and the only, at the end of the book of John, Peter points at John and says, "What of him?" And Joshua says, "If I want him to stay until I come, what's that to you? I'm talking of you." So Peter was always trying to find someone to knock down somewhere. Even in the Gnostic Gospel of Mary Magdalene, at the end of the Gnostic Gospel, Peter says to Mary, "Why should we believe you? You're a woman. Why would the master come to you instead of us? Because you're a woman," right? So, and then of course Levi came up and said, "Peter, you're a butthead." He didn't say that. I was paraphrasing. He basically told him, why wouldn't he go to her? He loved her. So it really comes down to understanding that, and a lot of the stuff in the Bible is just plain not true. And the scriptures, and I'm quoting scriptures because they were labeled scriptures, and then later on the letters from Paul were labeled as scriptures, when they're not scriptures, they're letters. But the scriptures were written 70 to 200 years after the crucifixion by Greco-Roman Christians who wanted to prove that he was a Messiah, which was totally antithetical to what he himself thought or believed. So I hope that answers your question, Nick. Like your hat, by the way. My past wife shows up as a hummingbird. Beautiful. That's lovely, Steve. I have VA Dynamics. I don't know what you're talking about. Do you think they're getting close to seeing enough yet? I'm not sure what that question is. Close to seeing the truth. Okay, I'm a little bit behind you guys. You might know I'm on this thing over here because this is the screen where I can put your comments on the board. So I'm usually a little bit behind you guys. I think we're all close to seeing the truth, and I think that, like I often say, when I was a young man, it was like the Wild West. There were gunfights in that part of town, and there were bar fights all over the town, and there were rednecks beating up the gay guys at the bars in town, and it was just like, I go back to Rehoboth now, none of that's happening. None of that's happening. Only if you believe you are. You will experience what you believe. You can go anywhere and then say, okay, now I'm going back to Earth. Everything comes down to what you believe in the now. Hope that answers that question. I love nature too, Maxine. We got about 15 minutes left before I start to wind this things down. So if you have any more questions, now is the time, so that we can get in as many as we can. And if we end up running out, we'll just chat, or we'll just end early, which would be okay too. But tell me what you'd like to talk about. And I just, by the way, just so you guys know, I had the beautiful pleasure of talking to Marcy Layton yesterday, and she's doing great. Things are changing in her world, and she was so giggly and so bright. For those of you who don't know who Marcy is, she used to manage the chat board with Ashley at Bright Love here, and she has the channel called Spirit Made Me Do It. By the way, I'm starting to build the new Expanding Spirit channel. It's up, but it's not complete. So if you want to see what that's going to look like, you can go to expandingspirit.com. Just going to be a lot of big changes pretty soon. If you type in johnofnew.com, it will point to Expanding Spirit. And the everything's changing. I'm also doing a new, I haven't started it yet, but I'm building a recovering Catholic website, so that I can have those as two separate entities. John of New, or Expanding Spirit, is really based on helping people find their divinity within and empowering people. And the Recovering Catholic channel is really about helping people overcome religion and the fear-based ideology of religion. So the channels have two separate purposes, which is why I have two separate channels, because they have different purpose. Let's see. Let's go. Sybil, thoughts on dating and finding the right person? Well, here's the caveat first. I have 3 ex-wives. That's why they call me Triple X. If you want to find someone who will love you unconditionally, if you truly want to find someone who will love you unconditionally, and that you label that whatever you want, soulmate, twin flame, whatever. It's just someone who will love you unconditionally. There's lots of people who will. The first thing you have to do is stop looking, because no one can see you and love you if all they see is your need for a partner. The next thing you do is you go and you express yourself into the world as fully as you can. What do you love to do? Do you like nature? Do you like hiking, biking, climbing? Do you like painting? Do you like reading? Do you like what? You find something that there is a club for, right? I like hiking and biking, so I'm going to join a hiking club or a biking club or a gardening club, and I'm going to go there and do that because I love doing it, and I'm not going to look for anybody while I'm there. You're just going to go there and express the things that you love outwardly. And what's going to happen is the people who will see you and love you will see you and love you and come and find you. You don't have to search for them. They will show up in your life because you are expressing your unaltered self. You're taking off the mask of need and want and desire, and you're putting it into, I am love, and love is surrounding my life. And next thing you know, you're going to have a partner. I can't tell you how many people I've talked to and told this to who found partners soon thereafter, just by letting go of the need for it. Because need itself is the belief that you don't have it now. And so that's my thought on this. I hope that makes sense to you, Sybil. What are my thoughts on dating and finding the right person? Be you to your fullest, and the right person will find you. Just Joshua speak to you. Does he pop in for a visit on an occasion? You know, people ask me things like that a lot. I believe Joshua is in the oneness of God, and when I get the goosebumps and all that stuff, I know that's the oneness of God, but it always reminds me of Joshua. It always makes me feel because that's what he felt like. He felt like that moment when your goosebumps are rising because you just heard a truth. So Joshua's in it all. So he's with every one of us every day. And it's only a matter of understanding that, we're all in this oneness of God. We are all the Sit Sat Ki, and he was too. So was Krishna, and so was Buddha, and so was Muhammad. Nick, I got to tell you, I love you for asking this question. Little marketing question here. I am a coffee lover. I am a fantastic coffee lover. I like all kinds of coffee. My channel, and this goes right into what I was just saying about doing what you love. My channel is something I love doing, and I love coffee. And I said, well, if I can find a way to find people who like coffee, who will buy coffee from me, then what I did was I did the research. I found 2 coffee roasteries that will roast your beans the day they're sent. And then they have my bags that say John's Joe on them and all that stuff. They take the order, they roast the order, they ship the order, and on every pound of coffee, I get a couple dollars. So they're making the most money, but I'm making a couple dollars. All I'm really doing is you're ordering it from me, and those few dollars come to me, which helps me run the channel. I don't make very much money off of coffee at all. The bulk of my money, as I said, was from private sessions, but soon that will be different. But it's good coffee, and it's coffee from all over the world. And if you're into decaf, there's even a Swiss water Peruvian decaf on there that's exceptional. Swiss water meaning it doesn't have any of the chemicals that happens in decaffeination. It's actually completely natural coffee. So very good coffee, wonderful coffee. I've only had one person who told me they didn't like it, and that person was literally a right-wing Christian who I don't think actually tried the coffee. They were just trying to say something because they saw my commercial in the ad. And I'm not going to put the commercial in this one because I was running late anyway. I'm going to say this. The past is done. Doesn't matter what they did in the past. Doesn't matter what they did in the past. And the Bible says, become as a child to enter the kingdom of heaven and be born again. That means set your past down, because both of those situations have no past. So whatever happened in the past is done. Just choose this moment to do good, to live loving. And that changes the entire experience of everything. So, jumping down. We're gonna go about 5 more minutes or so, and then I'm gonna start getting out of here before Chitra hurts me. Oh, have I heard of Eckhart Tolle and the Power of Now? Absolutely. I often say I love reading his books. I cannot listen to him speak because he puts me to sleep. But I think he's brilliant, and he speaks a lot of the same stuff I say. Cedar Cat, yeah. Have you read the book Finding Our Way Home by Gerald Jampolsky and Diane Siraccioni? I have not. I have not even heard of that book. So I will look into it if the time allows. Right now I'm kind of expanding into a different kind of spirit where I'm doing a lot more stuff right now, which in the end will make my life easier, and it'll start creating a situation where I can spend more time doing videos. Oh, thank you, Beyond Biblical Belief, for being here. Deep short stories. I have no idea what that means. Mike Kingsley, hello, my friend. Wondering about my views on the Trinity. It's a horrible doctrine. Yes, it is a horrible doctrine. Now let's talk about the Trinity. It wasn't invented until, I believe, the 3rd century, long after the Bible was written. It's not biblical in any way, shape, or form. It doesn't show up in the Bible anywhere. I think personally that there's an interesting truth in it, but it's not the truth that they're espousing or they're teaching. Just like I talked about earlier about Itzhak Bentaz and his levels of awareness, I believe there's the God consciousness, the Father, the physical world consciousness, the Son, and I think there's this higher self consciousness, or the Holy Spirit, that's in between, where we are more aware of our divinity. When we're down here in the physical, we have a hard time seeing it because we're down here in the ego awareness. Ego only meaning the awareness of your individuality. But then as you broaden, you go out. So I look at the Trinity from the perspective of consciousness as opposed to theology. I think it literally is just an example of ourselves and the connection to the oneness of everything. But the theologic ideas of it are absolutely used the wrong way, and they're subjugating us to a Father, and they're saying we're living into the Holy Spirit, which is all external. And to me, that's absolutely not at all what Joshua taught in any way, shape, or form. And like I said, we know it didn't even come about to either the 3rd or the 4th century. I love coffee too, VA Dynamics. 4 more minutes before Tritcher yells at me. Thank you for your profound thoughts as well. When you ask questions, you're expressing a profound thought. Yeah, and Larry, thank you for that. Wishing you a good evening, wonderful way. Thank you. Thank you, Mike. You're awesome as well. My friends, this has been a lovely conversation. I love the fact that you're sending us such love to each other, and I want to thank you for everything. There would be no channel. There would be no Expanding Purity. There would be no John of New. There would be no Recovering Catholic without the people who decide to watch it and support it. And I am honored that you put trust in me to be able to speak my truth, and hopefully some of you will find truth in it as well. And I thank you. I'm going to go have a cup of Peruvian decaf. And I hope, Bright Love, I'm beating you to it. I'm going to end early. I'm going to end a couple minutes early just to get out of here. So, my friends, thank you all. Thank you, Ashley, for all the work you do. Everyone, make sure you go check out Ashley's stuff. Ashley, I'm going to give you a few minutes if you want to put any of your information up, your YouTube or anything. Make sure that's out there. So I'll hold on until that gets done. Let me get Mike off the screen here. Thank you, Trader Kaz. Trader Kaz, where are you? What's your location? I know most people's locations now, but I know Larry's in Iowa. Iowa or Idaho? Now I'm not so sure. But yeah, it's been a wonderful time. And look forward to Atlanta, Georgia. I have spent a lot of time in Atlanta, Georgia. I was one of the headlining acts at the Renaissance Festival down there in Fairburn. So anyway, Santa, Idaho. Oh, look at that. Nice. Iowa. We have Idaho and Iowa and Indiana. So we got the I names here tonight. Anyway, my friends, you guys have a great night and a great weekend, and I'll see you in a month. See ya. Bye.
Thank you for joining us at the Live Loving live stream. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, and visit us at johnofnew.com.